fire away, whatever you want to hear.
The absence of Cooper, I guess, how do you think that affected the game?
Minus 0.3 rushing. I mean, you know, I don't know if that's a real. We got some other backs that we could go to. I thought, you know, they were prepared. We knew, you know, that we were going to be without Harold after the after last week's ball game, and had guys prepared. But you know, we got to be able to move some people. I thought that Maine did a really good job up front. They got some big, stout guys that are playing good run defense, and we couldn't get much of a crack. So, you know, then we were taking some negative yard plays, you know, at the quarterback spot. So, you know, it all washes out. It's still minus rushing, and if you got to be a football team that needs to run the football to be effective, you know, we were unable to do that. You got to tip your hat to the Black Bear defense.
Micah Wright was able to hurt you guys downfield, especially in that first half. I mean, what was the issue there, and how did you adjust to take him away in the second half?
Micah?
Micah Wright, 81.
Oh, shoot. I mean, he's a good player. You know, he's a good player. I mean, I think a lot of the stuff that we had early in the first half right now was just absolute busts. You know, he had a couple of those crossing routes that popped out. I think one was to him, and the other one was probably to the tight end. Both similar concepts, you know, drive concept underneath, and you got to put linebackers' bodies on bodies, and you have an opportunity to, you know, at least make it a hard throw and catch, but those guys were wide open. You know, the vertical game off of it, you know, we were close on those things, and sometimes you look up and you can't believe, you know, you're not making those plays. I mean, you know, 21 was in position on the first one. I don't know if that was Mike or not. You know, I have a hard time knowing who the heck's burning this, but I know that it goes into the end zone, and it was, you know, it was defended, guys there make the play. You know, there was a couple of those during the course, and they came down with it, we didn't. So, I mean, it jumped out on us, and I thought, you know, you closed it down a little bit in the second half, and you know, made some plays, and you'll draw some positives, but at the end of the day, it's a loss in our column, and, you know, it's smarts, and it's 0-2 in the conference. But we got Brown next week, and we'll get on this nice short bus ride and get home early tomorrow morning and rock and roll from there.
Can you talk about some of the positives there in the second half that you saw? It's kind of slowed down Maine some.
Yeah, I think, you know, I think the positives all day. I mean, you know, I'm sure everything we look at positive, Jack will look as a negative. I mean, you know, I think that, you know, defensively we really bowed up a number of times all the way through the game. We gave some easy things up early on, but, you know, able forced field goal attempts, you know, their field goal kicker had a hard time early on, you know, missed a couple of those. I thought those were big. I mean, we were obviously recipients of some really, you know, 14 penalties they had. I mean, you know, 14, that was a rough deal. I mean, it could have been a worse outcome, but I still think that, you know, if we're not held or whatever, you know, maybe you get a chance to get to the quarterback. So those are kind of a wash. I'm sure Jack's upset about all the holding calls, but bottom line is that, you know, we, you know, stepped up in the second half. We found a couple of our younger guys that haven't really had a lot of burn. You know, they've had burn, but haven't really produced a whole bunch. Marvin Bouvet, you look at a big, tall body, you can throw it up to, and you know, Paul likes to throw it downfield. Now, we look just as bad as we did good at times, particularly, you know, with some of those running away from pressure type deals. So, you know, I mean, shit, we got a long way to go. You know, we've got to get back to the drawing board. We've got to make sure, you know, we're not going to change ourselves completely overnight, but we've got to do certain fundamental things. We've got to protect the quarterback better. We've got to be able to go ahead and you know, make quicker decisions at the quarterback spot. We need to run the ball better. But I think that the bright spots were, you know, once we changed tempo, I think we went down 27-10, and that's when we started, you know, I just say, hey, let's try something we haven't done a whole, but we prepared for it, you know, but we haven't put Paul in that situation just to start popping it out there, working tempo, and you know, I think we found something there. I think he's kind of an instinctive player that can make some things happen downfield, and the receivers went up and caught the ball pretty well, and we had some nice drives put together. But then defensively, I think, you know, that they continue to come along. Statistically, I feel awful for those guys because, you know, they're put in such situations. I mean, it's half-field game for them a lot of the times, and I'm going, holy smokes, you know. But they stepped up a number of times tonight, and I'm pleased with, you know, our performance. Obviously, reserve the final comment for watching the tape, but I think think as an overall, we hung in the football game. We continued to battle. We made some things happen late, and came up short.
Anything else?
All right.
Thank you very much.